Good evening. Today we're going to be going over the project for ITS6250. Right now I have pulled up my PDF of my topology for the project. It does match the requirements of at least 5 HP VSR routers labeled router RT1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. At least one of these routers has to have direct connectivity to 3 other routers, which is my router 4 here. Again, that's actually connected to 4 other routers just for the requirements of the project. And last but not least, each router has to have a PC attached. So each router 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 have their own PC 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 attached. All of the network addresses are per the requirements given on the project. So my IP addresses were 10.192/12 and 192.168.192/20. So I used the latter for the router to PC connectivity, and then the former, the 10.192/12, for in between all of the routers. Next, we're going to take a look at GNS3. So if I bring that up, again, very similar to that PDF that I just displayed. What we are going to do now is log into one of these routers and just make sure that all of the IP addresses actually do match that PDF. So if I go in here, I'm actually already connected to my router 1, which is 5007. So if I go over here and I look at router 1, right now it has 3 interfaces. So if I go ahead and do a system view on this one, I can actually do a show interface brief to just quickly take a look at all of those addresses. So if I bring this over to this side, hopefully I can get everything on the right screen here. So my interface 1 is 192.168.192.2, which is going to be right here, going right to that PC. My interface 2 is 10.192.20.1, which is going to be going to my router 4. Last but not least, I have my interface 6, 10.192.30.2 going to my router 5. So when I look at in GNS3, it's going to be 0, 1, and 5. So if I hover over my router 1, I have 0, 1, and 5, again going to PC1, router 4, and router 5. Next, we're going to take a look at activating RAP. I had trouble with this, but I'm going to try to at least explain what I did. So if I go over here, let me minimize this, it's a little bit too big there. So ultimately what I had to do for this, I did log into my router. For this one I logged into router 5011, which is my router 2, but from there, over. I did a system view. I created a VPN instance on all of my servers, so everything that I did for this specific router I did for all of them. So let me go up a little bit. So I created the VPN instance RT2, so this is just naming convention, the same thing as I have over here in my topology. So RT2 is going to be for router 2. I got rid of that. I created the instance. I saved it. Down here I came and I actually went through all of the interfaces. I did an RIP input and an RIP output and saved that. So again, I did that for all interfaces for each server. I'm only displaying one just for the sake of time, but I did go through and did that for all routers, all interfaces, the same process that I just displayed. From here, the next task on the project was to ping 3 PCs from one PC. So right now I'm logged into 5010, which is my PC1, so I can see my PC5 over here. So typically what I would do is I would just ping that address. Unfortunately, it is not working. It's coming up with a ping in a millisecond, but it's also saying destination unreachable. So unfortunately, I can't show this, but I did want to show that I knew how to do it, assuming that everything was set up correctly. A lot of these other PCs, unfortunately, I'm not able to ping, but I would essentially, ideally, do this for 3 different PCs out of the 4 that I would have available since I'm logged into PC1. From there, I would do the ping command, but everything on the end here in parentheses wouldn't be there, obviously. So something that what it should look like is if I pinged like the router 1, I would expect something like this. Again, pretty much the same thing as above. It gives me the size of the packet, and also how quickly it's coming back. So ideally this would happen for all of the PCs, but unfortunately for me it's not. So I did want to at least display that I know how to do that. Unfortunately it didn't work. So the other thing that I did want to show also, if I go back to here, I did forget to identify. So I showed my interfaces. What I haven't done though is I didn't show additional information on these. So if I do display interface GE1-0, right here it's going to give me the same IP address that it gave me before, but it's also going to show my /24, which is very important. Also, that's again matching what my topology says. So if I quit that, can't remember what the other numbers were, 2 and 6. So if I do display interface GE2, again 1092.21 and -24, which is this one right here. Last but not least, number 6. It's going to have 10.192, 30 to 24, which is again right here. This is the one that's going to router 5. So I did forget to show that earlier, but wanted to verify that we can go in and just briefly look at the IP addresses right here, but ultimately we want to make sure that the entire IP address is correct, which is why we actually go into the display interface command to look and make sure that that -24, -23 in the case of down here for PC4 router 4, all of those are intact. Again, I went through all of those, they're all good. For some reason it's still not showing up. So the next task on, let's see, so I did the activate RAP, I tried to ping the PCs, which didn't work. The next thing up would be the Wireshark packet between routers. So I do have pulled up, I've already identified a Wireshark tracking. So if I pull this up, I can see that something has been going on. It looks like it's asking who has a specific IP, and it's going back and it's saying that it's responding to that message. But what I want to do here, if I can move this, let me minimize this. What I want to do is I want to log into my router 2 and I want to ping router 4. Since the Wireshark is looking right there, I should see something populate over here pretty quickly. So I'm just going to open a new tab. I'm going to go into my router 2, which is 5011. And then if I ping my router 4, which I have to come over here, so I'm in router 2, I need to ping router 4, which is this number right here. Ping 10.192.10.2. So I can see that that was able to ping successfully as expected. I also noticed over here now I actually have some more data. Initially I only had those first 2 numbers, but now I have rows 3 through 12. So I see that the source is 10.192.10.1 going to 10.2. So obviously we have the ping, the request, and then the reply. So if I just double check my topology over here, 1092.10.1 going to 10.192.10.2. So 10.1 to 10.2. Here's the ping request, and then of course the reply back from 10.2 to 10.1. So router 4 going back to router 2 is the reply. So we have our source there, we have our destination there, we also can identify the number of bytes that were captured and whether it was a request or a reply. The next thing was to create a failure. So ultimately what would happen here is if I were to stop router 4, if I just go in here and right click, stop that, and I try to do my same ping again, so I can see that it's red here, it's stopped. Over here I have my 12 rows, so if I just do that same thing again, it's going to time out, and I can see it also timing out over here. After the 5th one, it's going to stop. So similar to before, we have 10.1 to 10.2, it's requesting it, but there are no replies because of course router 4 is down. So if I come back here, I start this one back up, it's going to go green over here, and then if I did it again, it's going to show the exact same thing it did before. The request and then the reply from router 4 back to router 2. So with OSPF, the open shortest path, we would expect the same thing initially with the initial pings. However, for a failure, if I stopped capturing here, for example, and I start capturing here to give me a blank Wireshark screen, ultimately what would happen is that when I log into router 1 and I try to ping router 4, it's going to go through exactly as it did before. However, if I stopped router 4, just like I did before, and I also pinged router 4 from router 1, it would then go from router 1 to router 5 to router 4, because it would understand that this link is down and cannot accept packets because my router 4 is off. And that's actually all that I'm able to show on my GNS3. I don't like the fact that I couldn't finish this project, but I do understand the concepts and what should be happening. For some reason, when I was setting up my servers or my IP addresses or something, I'm just not able to successfully ping, which really limits what I can do for this project. So I'm hoping it's enough, but I completely understand that a lot of these initiatives I was not able to complete. So thank you so much.